You're about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
And we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So, I'm not really excited about anything I buy. Yeah, I mean, I buy cat food. Like, I'll go on Amazon, I'll buy cat food, I'll buy toilet paper. I don't get excited to buy anything like that. I haven't really bought new clothes. I mean, I think I got this blouse about a year ago, and I really don't like it. I don't get excited. I hate shopping. But one thing that I loved, that I bought, and it's probably one of my favorite purchases, and I loved it so much that I bought my soon-to-be daughter-in-law and her mom and my sons. I forgot to buy my husband one, is this charger. I wish I brought it to show you, where it's I forget what we used to call it, like a Mophie. You know how you used to stick your phone onto a charger if you couldn't find, it was like a portable charger and if you didn't have a wall outlet. Well, this thing is a portable charger that's smaller than your phone, but you could pull down 4 different plugs that it has. And so if your phone is an Android or an iPhone or an older one, or you need to plug your laptop, it has a USB port or a UCDs or a USB-C port or whatever to allow you to charge. I love that. I love that flexibility, the portability. And so when I go on a plane, that's what I now bring. Because in case the plane doesn't have plugs for us to plug in our phone, I now have a portable charger. In fact, I use it for Disneyland. Because every time I'm at Disneyland, we're at the park all day. I mean, from like 7 a.m. to midnight. Your phone will die, especially because I'm always videotaping and just taking pictures and selfies. So I love having that portable charger. A portable charger is awesome. I'll let you guys know what it is. I love it. The problem is with any sort of portable charger or electric vehicle or anything with any lithium ion battery, you're going to have a fire risk. And fire risks are pretty dangerous, especially on the road, on the plane. So we're hearing that some of the airlines is going to restrict the chargers you bring or how much you could bring. Why? Because apparently fire risk is happening commonly enough for them to now make rule change. And so, I mean, my question is, well, then why aren't they going to make these things safer? Yeah, I mean, we're having electric vehicle mandates, all our tech, a lot of our tech and charging and things, it's all going to lithium. But if there's this much fire risk where people are being hospitalized and dying and from this, maybe we need to kind of rethink what we're doing here. So this article caught my eye. Southwest Airlines has announced, and this is being reported by the Associated Press, that starting April 20th, passengers will only be able to carry one charger on their planes, and they won't be allowed to put it in the overhead bin or in their checked luggage. Now, that's why I like this one charger. I'll post a picture of it. I like it because there's multiple. So the reason why people have multiple chargers is they need a charger for the laptop, or they need a charger for their phone, or they need a charger for their AirPods or whatever. This charges all of them. And so it's really a neat thing. And so if I'm allowed by one charger, I'm going to bring that. Gosh, I sorry I don't have the name of it, but I'll show you guys. They're sold all over Amazon. But they're only going to allow everybody to carry only one charger on their plane. Can't put it in an overhead bin. Can't put it in checked luggage. It's got to be on your person. It has to be out in the open while using them, because flight attendants have to be able to act quickly if they start to overheat. We talked about that thermal runway, where it could go up to thousands of degrees in heat, where if there's some short circuit or something that messes up or something that ignites, the fire that ensues is so quick. This is why people were burning their faces when they had vape pens with lithium batteries. I don't understand what we're doing here as a society. If these things are dangerous, we need to keep them away, and we really shouldn't be having them on planes. If there's a fire risk with these suckers, then maybe we should change the way we do chargers. I don't think that's safe. But the new Southwest Airline rule goes even further. They say they're going to limit 2 chargers. Oh, this is even more than the 2 chargers per passenger. The airline said it isn't going to aggressively enforce the policy. They're not going to search your bags. They're not going to confiscate charges yet. But right now, the Southwest Vice President of Safety and Security, Dave Hudd, said the airline is going to stress this to travelers. So, these lithium ion batteries, in fact, there was a statistic. This comes from the Fire Safety Research Institute, that in one city, there was over, let me see if I have the numbers, and I apologize. There was like over 155 deaths, 238 fires. I mean, this is frightening. We have really gotten ourselves very, shall we say, dependent on tech. And so now, I don't really watch the movies on the airlines. I'm on my phone. I'm playing a game, or I'm texting, or I'm scrolling, or I'm whatever. And we trained society to be like this. And now we're training them that they always have to charge. We're now training them to have cars that are electric. And again, I think electric vehicles could, to a degree, help the environment. I don't like the weight. I don't like the tire pollution. So the science is still a little unsteady as to how, shall we say, good for the environment electric vehicles are, especially when you look at all the carbon footprinting needed to build the infrastructure. But when I hear of these electric vehicles igniting or hitting a tree and igniting, I mean, that's dangerous. Our fire risks with these lithium batteries needs to be addressed. And I know the companies are addressing it, but they're not addressing it quick enough, especially if airlines are like, we got to limit these suckers on the plane. And I think any more fires, they're going to probably say no chargers at all. Now, how do you then travel to another city if you can't carry your charger? So what's so significant about this is they don't want that charger in your carry-on bag or your luggage. So if chargers end up being such a fire risk, you're going to travel without one. That's a problem. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away. Hi guys, Dr. Dahlia here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdahlia.com. Check it out.
Increase fuel economy up to 7.9% with Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme. The solution to maximize your engine's performance and fuel economy. Whether you're driving a sports car or a daily commuter, Gasoline Extreme is specially formulated with PEA to deep clean. Don't settle for an average driving experience. Upgrade to Hot Shot Secret Gasoline Extreme and go further on each tank. Order now on Amazon or HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dolly, 1-877 DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So I hear from Democrats and Republicans all the time that they're a little concerned if they want to still call themselves Democrats or Republicans, as the media is giving a lot of attention to those with very extreme views. Now, everybody has a right to a view. I mean, this is America. But there's a manipulation that we see with the media where Democrats are starting to look like they're anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, pro-9/11, anti-American. And a lot of the Democrats are like, no, that's not us. Just because, what is it, Hasan Piker, who's a political commentator, podcaster, or whatever, or Hasan Piker. Just because he's campaigning with Democratic candidates, that's not where our party's going. Well, but it starts to make people think. Same thing with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson has been no friend of Israel's, and he's been said, some pretty horrible things about Israel. And the Republicans are like, really, Tucker Carlson? He's representing Republicans? I don't really watch a lot of these shows. I remember seeing a couple of Tucker Carlson's. I found his show hard to watch. I don't know much about him, but I know that there are many individuals that are now gaining a lot of attention because they are able to capitalize on sentiment that a lot of, shall we say, not very pro-American people and pro-Israel people have. And they're growing a huge following to the point that now these candidates are like, well, maybe I need to, because they have a popular platform, maybe I need to go on their show or hang out with them so that I get more numbers, so I could get more votes. Like Hasan Piker, this Twitch streamer and political commentator, he's known notoriously for saying America deserved September 11th, 9/11. Really? What are you doing in America? We deserved the slaughter of thousands of innocent Americans? I mean, that's pretty frightening. And what's even more frightening is there are politicians who'll hang out with this guy. Yeah, apparently during one of his broadcasts, he said the U.S. deserved it. Now, he later tried to backstep and say, I didn't mean to say deserved, they earned it. That's not much better. Somebody earned innocent people being slaughtered? Well, yeah, because of America's foreign policy. No, that's no. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then I guess he was talking about the rapes that Hamas was doing. He said, I'm not bothered by it. And he made some other very, very horrible claims. He also said they were rape hallucinations when the Israeli first responders, had radiographic evidence of these kids' pelvises crushed from these terrorists raping them. This guy is a loon. And so listen, people may have their opinions, they may podcast, but, Democrats are getting a little nervous, and Republicans are too, when you have some of these individuals with these types of, shall we say, sentiments now invading into American politics. Now, you would think anybody who was a politician would distance himself from this, going, okay, you know what? Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. I'm not going to, this person said his things, whatever. Yet a top Democratic state Senate candidate in Michigan appears to be aligning himself with people like this. Abdul El Sayed, who is a very charismatic candidate and is definitely gaining steam. Why was he hosting an event with Hasan Piker at Michigan State University? And in a post Hasan Piker said, get ready, we're coming. Now, I don't know much about this Piker guy. I don't know much about El Sayed, but you have somebody who said we deserved or earned 9/11. You think that's going to resonate with voters? And what's really frightening is there are voters out there who that resonates with. And I think mainstream Democrats and Republicans are kind of looking at this as, okay, where are we going here? Are we going to live in a country that says we deserve it when we were bombed and murdered? Can you imagine if somebody in the 1940s said we deserved Pearl Harbor? They would be like, go to a mental institution. What are you doing? I mean, this is some crazy stuff. And I guess there's a lot of people that and it's interesting because I read what people say about Israel. And I mean, I look at a map. Again, I see Middle East huge and a little sliver of Israel. And they say how Israel is trying to take over the Middle East and colonize. And you're like, okay, they have 1/1000th, maybe 1/10,000th the land of all these other countries in the Middle East, and you're saying that they are colonizing and taking over? Come on. And they provide peace and stability and safety for Jews, for Catholics, for Muslims, for LGBTQAI plus members. I mean, it is a helicopter pad for America and their intelligence. We're very, very lucky to have Israel. And Republicans and Democrats are kind of scratching their head when you have this growing movement of the extremists being anti with that sentiment. And then what's also kind of a head scratcher is all those protests having to do with Gaza, right? And Palestine under Hamas rule, which was blamed as Israeli rule when Hamas is ruling Palestine. Israel's been out of there for years, but you saw all those protesters, yet you have Iranians, tens of thousands getting killed, publicly executed, and not one protest. It's confusing to people. And so Democrats tell me and Republicans tell me, is there going to be a new party? Because if I don't want to be a part of a party where this is what is being it's being stereotyped at or having a reputation of, and we're seeing this, especially more so with the Democrats, where the progressives call themselves progressives. Progressiveness isn't bad. Yeah, I mean, in and of itself, being progressive, but if progressives are going to align with anti-American, pro 9/11, well, you earned it. Then now the Progressive Party has to rethink. I mean, Ocasio-Cortez has to rethink, but apparently Hasan Piker brought her a gift, and I guess she was on TV smiling with him. And I mean, is that what the progressives want? I mean, it's concerning. And for me with America, I really, really think that it doesn't matter what political party you're a part of. Just like with football. I don't care if you're a Green Bay Packer, you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, you're a New York Jets fan. I don't care. That's right. I might, make fun of you while Cowboys are playing because I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but you and I will still always connect because we like football. When I see somebody who's a fan and they wear their jersey, even if it's not my team, I respect you because you have that love and passion for your sport. We're cool. We're cool. That's cool. And so same thing. If you are Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, whatever, you have a passion. The underlying theme is if you are still pro-America, well, that's what should connect us. But what's happening is this disconnect, this real huge disconnect. I mean, there's American values that we all should agree upon, that we be safe, that we have a legal immigration process where we allow refugees and asylum seekers and people coming here legally to have a process. And if somebody skips the line, they get to the back of the line. That should be something we all kind of agree on. Agree on, ensuring that our economy is stable. Common sense type stuff. We should all, that our kids are being educated. And I get that you're going to have parties disagree with things, but we all should be agreeing on the same thing. And now we're starting to see with these political parties this, something that's horrible, as September 11th, or Pearl Harbor, or whatever. Well, that's on America. Then how are you a political party in America? 1-877 Doc Dolly, don't go away.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Dolly show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dolly, 1-877 DOCDALI. Well, I'm an advocate of kids going to school and learning and being around others and progressing socially. But I got to tell you, if your kids are going to school with some of these kids, I don't blame you for wanting to homeschool. Remember, we talked about a couple weeks ago what happened at it's a Southern Nevada private school, a very expensive one, Alexander Dawson. And there was a Costa Rica trip, I believe, for the 8th grade. The fancy schools. I mean, I remember in public school, we went to the Shamrock Dairy in Phoenix, Arizona, or we had to go out into the desert and learn about cacti. Those were our field trips. But apparently some of these private fancy schools, they get to go to Costa Rica. Sadly, a boy got sexually assaulted by a bunch of other boys, and it was videotaped and distributed to other classmates. Dominique Kim, 15 years old, according to News 8, has been charged with 1 count of possession of visual presentation depicting sexual conduct of a child, 2 counts of child abuse, neglect, and endangerment. Las Vegas Metro Police said the victim and the 4 teens who sexually assaulted him were all 8th graders at Alexander Dawson. The crime occurred last April. Vaughn Griffith is the first of the boys to be moved to an adult system and for prosecution. He allegedly recorded the video of the sexual assault, according to detectives. Clark County Chief Judge Jerry Weiss sealed the video evidence in the case Friday. Prosecutors said it includes child sexual abuse material. A judge previously moved Kim's case to the adult system, noting the allegations are serious, heinous, and egregious. A grand jury previously indicated Vaughn Griffith for possession of visual presentation depicting sexual conduct of a child. So 8 News Now investigators obtained a criminal complaint previously filed against Kim by the Clark County District's Attorney's Office. Prosecutors allege that the images of the sexual assault were found in his Snapchat account, Cucumbers345, showed images to other teens who were also named victims. Kim threatened the sexual assault victim that he would show the video of the assault to other students. Griffith and Kim are now charged in connection with the video of the alleged assault. The other 2 currently do not face charges. Now, the alleged assault, because you're like, okay, now what about the ones assaulting him? I understand, not only, should you get in trouble for videotaping and dispersing that video, but what's happening to the individuals that raped him and put stuff into his orifices and such horrible things. According to 8 News Now, because the alleged sexual assault occurred in Costa Rica, Clark County prosecutors cannot pursue sexual assault charges. A representative for Police Delegación Policial Cuerpos in Costa Rica said that law enforcement was unaware of the alleged sexual assault involving individuals who came to their country last year. The FBI has confirmed that Las Vegas Child Exploitation Human Trafficking Task Force has been involved in the case, but none of the teens who assaulted the boy are facing federal charges. So what America was able to get these kids on is the video and the pornographic material and that. So there's still a lot of explaining to do and a lot of accountability and prosecution as far as I'm concerned. But being that it happened in another country, just frightening. Kim's bail is $30,000. It was posted. And under certain conditions, family member posted $20,000 for Griffith. And so high-level electronic monitoring, no internet except for school purposes, staying away from minors other than a sibling, staying away from the victim, surrendering passports, staying out of trouble. And I guess a hearing for Kim is on April 14th and Griffith's case April 9th, which is tomorrow. The victim, identified as Jack Doe, and his parents Jane Doe and John Doe, have filed a civil lawsuit against the school and staff on February 13th, alleging major failures to address bullying, victim blaming, and a boys being boys attitude, which led to a tragic outcome. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for suing. I would, as a parent, be just livid. But this isn't the only group of teens that were sick in the head. We're being told from allegedly, we're being told from New York Post that 4 Texas teens allegedly kidnapped and tortured one of their classmates at gunpoint. Why? Because he talked to one of the kids' girlfriends. The accused Austin teens are Jose Rojas Alvarado, Oscar Armando Santiago Martinez, Angel Lemus Perez, and Carlos Roberto Oliva Vieda. They allegedly tied up, burned, and beat the other student with a baseball bat, taking turns holding a gun to his head. This is being reported by New York Post. These are 17-year-olds, but still kids. The unidentified victim apparently was friends with this group for 2 years, was tricked into leaving Del Valle High School on February 19th. They were supposed to be grabbing pizza. The 3 suspects instead drove them to a house where the 4th one was waiting. And then the group, I guess, were in a detached garage talking, and then one of them made the victim sit in a chair, and then the attitude started to change. They bound the victim's hands, feet, and mouth with duct tape, took turns holding a gun to his head, viciously beating him with aluminum baseball bats, a walking cane, and a belt. Lemus Perez allegedly torched up a box cutter with a lighter and held it against his chest. Rojas Alvarado forced him to drink from a bottle of clear alcohol, threatened to cut his toe off if he refused. At what point Rojas Alvarado grabbed a chainsaw and machete. These are kids. Grabbed a chainsaw and machete and threatened to cut off the tortured teen's body parts, according to the accuser, and they also put a plastic bag over his head. Towards the end, Rojas Alvarado told the alleged victim that they tortured him because he had been talking to his girlfriend and he wanted him to stop. Now, they let the kid loose, dumped him at a separate location. Attackers deleted their phone numbers from his cell phone. According to the affidavit, he was able to crawl and get to a bus stop, and police got involved. He had extensive injuries to his chest, back, and legs. Now, apparently, with interviews with police, Santiago Martinez, Lemus Perez, and Oliva Vieda allegedly admitted to planning the kidnapping a week in advance. So this was while we're going to talk, and things got heated. All 4 have been charged with aggravated kidnapping with a deadly weapon, first-degree felony, and engaging in organized criminal activity. They are no longer enrolled in the school district, according to News 4 San Antonio. I am just shocked. And to think that your kids could be, you send your kids to school because you want them in a safe environment. You don't want them off campus where they could get hurt by adults. But these kids are getting hurt by other kids. And how could 8th graders, 13 years old, be even fathoming a sexual assault and committing it and videotaping it and then extorting and blackmailing a child with it. How could 17-year-olds do such torture that you see terrorists do to another one of their friends? This is frightening. I don't know if there's any gang activity. I don't know, but you're talking about 13-year-olds and 17-year-olds. And this is what kids are doing. And it's scary that you have that sort of mental illness. And I understand people will say, well, look, Dahlia, there was probably one sick individual and then everybody kind of followed because they were afraid that if they didn't join in, then they could get hurt. You know what? They could have taken a stand. They really could have taken a stand. And it's disgusting. And also what's shocking is the parents don't know that their kid is a rapist or assault or a criminal. They don't pick up on this sort of behavior. The school doesn't pick up on it. You have a child sitting there, right? That you could pick up on things. I mean, my teachers used to always eavesdrop on stuff I said. They wanted to listen and hear. That's how they learned about us. Nobody's investigating these kids. It's disgusting. 1-877 Doc Dolly.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
And we're back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So the new DHS Secretary, Mark Wayne Mullen, was on an interview with Fox News. And in this interview, he brought up something that was kind of interesting. He said that the sanctuary cities, if they're not going to be enforcing or working with federal authorities, then is the customs and their role in international travel irrelevant? And should they end customs processing services in those cities and look at their airports if they aren't going to cooperate with federal immigration authorities? Mark Mullen said some of these cities have international airports. If they're a sanctuary city, should they really be processing customs into their city? He says, seriously, if they're a sanctuary city and they're receiving international flights and we're asking them to partner with us at the airport, but once they walk out of the airport, they're not going to enforce immigration policy. He says, maybe we need to have a real hard look at that because we need to focus on cities that want to work with us. Now, Customs and Border Protection operate in more than 300 ports of entry, including international airports throughout the country. So, for example, in California, if California is supposed to be a sanctuary haven, then what are we screening at San Francisco International Airport, LAX, San Diego, Oakland? So now airports are obviously concerned that it could halt, international travel. But what a sanctuary city does, if it's a city, and then if a state, like California with Gavin Newsom, is expanding that sort of throughout the state. But if you have San Francisco, a city, LA, which are sanctuary cities, basically a sanctuary city is a city that limits cooperation with federal immigration authorities. They will not use local resources, police, or jails to detain or report undocumented immigrants for basic violations. And there's been a lot of questions on how they handle criminals. And so they're supposed to be a sanctuary for illegal immigrants who got into this country illegally, that they could go to one of their cities, be safe, end up using their resources, benefits. So Mark Wade Mullen does bring up a very interesting point. If we are screening people, every time I go in and out of a country, I have to go through customs. I have to go through, and sometimes it might not be necessarily, but to get in, I'm still screened by that country or our country's TSA. And then you pick up your bag, either the bag goes through customs or the bag was already looked at. So you're already going through that sort of a process. But if they do detect that somebody is there illegally in the airport, but then they go, just step over here, well, now you're out of the airport. You're out of the jurisdiction of the feds because we're sanctuary city. You're good. Well, then what is customs doing? And we always knew that sanctuary cities could pose very huge vulnerabilities for us. But what are we doing as it pertains to, people coming in? So I don't know if you heard this story. The New York Post is reporting that a Haitian illegal immigrant bludgeons a mother of two to death outside a Florida gas station in broad daylight. Robert Joaquin, 40 years old, is accused of striking a 50-year-old woman multiple times, killing her outside a Chevron gas station at 7:20 in the morning on Friday in Fort Myers. The woman was found by first responders, not breathing, lying in a pool of blood around her head. Pronounced dead at the scene. And the immigrant was seen outside the convenience store holding a mallet in one hand and a knife in the other. How he got into this country, how he's remaining in this country, I don't know. He starts striking the windshield of a black SUV, then allegedly hit the woman who stepped out of a nearby store. She falls to the ground. We don't have her identity yet, but why did this happen? She's the mom of two teenage daughters. And then from what we understand, kept hitting her with a metal mallet with a blue rubber handle. And I don't know why he's here in this country. I don't know how he got here, what. And mind you, there's also criminals that are legal and American citizens. But how did this person get through? What did he say? To TSA agents or Customs and Border. What did he say? Or did he sneak over the border? Why is he here? I don't know. And so I want our cities and our country protected. And I want to know that we are protected as Americans. We have enough criminals already in this country. We don't need more. We have legal immigrants that want to make a life. I'm a daughter of an immigrant. love the fact that America has a legal immigration pathway. And the idea of, you know what? If you cheat the system, if you take cuts, we got you. Yeah, I find that fascinating because I keep up bringing up the DMV. What happens at a California DMV if you're sitting there for 4 hours and somebody takes cuts and sneaks in and goes up to the counter? They get told to go to the back of the line, take a number. And if they refuse, they get escorted out. They get deported out of the DMV building. That's how we do things all over. And when it comes to this country, no, that's okay. You can come to our city and vote. Well, that's frightening. So then we do start to wonder, when you go through customs, Washington, with Seattle, SeaTac, I'm not exactly sure where this goes. And I understand you want to be a place for refugees and asylum seekers. I get it. And there are some individuals that may feel they can't wait for the process, but we have a process. And if we don't follow that process, it hurts all the other innocent people and the refugee and the asylum seekers. We're going to eventually become more and more strict. And it actually then hurts the people you are claiming you're trying to help. So I want a secure border. But now it's a lot harder for asylum seekers to come here because there were people that took advantage. And the people that took advantage, cheated, got in. So people in line are trying to go through the process online, now suffers. So Markwayne Mullin, it's very interesting. Yeah, I know with Kristi Noem, there was a lot of, I don't know much about Kristi Noem's reign and how good she did. I did notice one thing that I picked up right away was it was a lot about, her poising and her camera, and her makeup and the way she looked. I mean, Pam Bondi, she didn't look like she cared if she had makeup on or not. She's like, I got a job to do. This is what I got to do. This is what I do. And, she's been replaced now. But with Kristi Noem, I just didn't understand the whole, why are we watching a commercial with her on a horse? And then seeing her again. And then why is she on the commercials? They could have very easily done a cheap commercial saying, guys, all right, if you deport now and you go to the app, if you self-deport, you'll be able to come back. You'll be able to go to the line. From the line, we're going to pay you $1,000 to leave. But why do we have to keep seeing her? And so I found that just kind of a look at me sort of thing. And I'm not a big fan of that look at me. But she might have done great work. I mean, she did help secure the border, but I really do find this fascinating from Markwayne Mullin. And now, will they stop international travel at all international airports? I doubt that. Because this is where, people are coming into our country. But the question does have to be answered. What are we doing then? If they're in a sanctuary city, are these cities allowing people that aren't legally supposed to be here? 1-877-Doc-Dolly. Don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.